I was born in 1987, so I lived my childhood during the 1990s, and yes, I have many fond memories of that decade of my younger years. Not so much the fact that society had a poor understanding of neurodiversity, but that's beside the point. That's not part of this video. Yes, there was things. It was a simpler time. Things weren't nearly as bad as they are now, or more accurately, we didn't pay as much attention to certain issues. But again, not the point of this video. We had some great television shows during the 1990s, but the 1990s were not a good time for any parents who may have wanted gender-neutral or unisex toys for their children. Although, then again, I don't think there was that much demand at that point in time. But, toys during the 1990s were very heavily segregated or separated by sex and or gender. It's unfortunate, but at the time, nobody questioned it. Of course, looking back on it now, it's pretty cringeworthy. So just thought I'd mention a few particular examples. We all know trolls, the little tiny toys that for decades they were popular with girls, but I guess whatever company makes trolls wanted to get in, get boys in on it as well. Now, I remember an advertisement that ran in the 1990s where it was like two advertisements back to back, like two advertisements in one. First, we had an advertisement for trolls that were clearly aimed at girls. The advertisement showed young girls playing with trolls and had a chorus of women singing a jingle, and the jingle emphasized how the girls could style the troll's hair or mention how they had shiny jewels in their abdomens, their navels, or whatnot. So that's all well and good, but it was immediately followed by an advertisement for trolls aimed at boys, and the contrast could not be any more different. They were as different as night and day. Whereas the advertising for the girls had light, airy pop music, the advertising for the trolls aimed for boys had like epic rock and or metal sounding music with a chorus of male vocalists singing the jingle or the song. There was the actual storyline here. The trolls for the girls just emphasized styling their hair and whatnot, but the troll toys that are aimed at boys emphasized how there's a story. An evil warlord wanted to conquer some fictional kingdom, and the stones, they weren't just the stones embedded in the trolls' navels were not just, or actually no, they were embedded in the trolls' chests this time around, but they were not just to look good looking. They actually had power. So yes, the evil warlord wanted the stones to become all powerful and conquer the kingdom. So, oh my God. Of course, back then, nobody questioned it, but thinking back on it nowadays, my reaction would be somewhere between an eye roll and just totally cringing and for how cringy it was. Then there's another one I remember. Now, for decades, like from like the 50s or 60s onward, we had the Easy Bake Oven. It was a toy oven, but it really did work. It was clearly aimed at girls because, at that point in time, cooking in an oven was thought to be a feminine work. But anyway, in the 1990s, the makers of the Easy Bake Oven thought, hey, we should get the boys in on this too. So they made the Queasy Bake Oven, which was basically the exact same thing, just reskinned. It was meant to appeal to boys. And oh my God, that product was so 90s, it was painful. Like all the recipes were exactly the same. The only difference was that the Queasy Bake Oven looked different, and the marketing campaign was, oh boy, it was very, very cringeworthy looking back on it now. But anyway, the recipes in the Queasy Bake Oven were exactly the same as the Easy Bake Oven. They just had gross, disgusting sounding names because, supposedly that's what boys liked. Yes. So anyway, again, looking back on it now, it's oh my God, it's kind of hilarious, both hilarious and pathetic at the same time. So anyway, I want to ask now, for people who are around the same age as me, give or take a few years, do you think you might be able to dig up or find those advertisements to which I'm referring online? Secondly, what are some instances you can recall, like in the 1990s, of like toys that were just completely unnecessarily and pointlessly segregated by sex, into boys and girls toys? I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts, and yes, as a side note, I'll just mention that I say it was in the early 2000s that we started getting a push for more gender-neutral or unisex toys. So I'm very glad it's not completely better yet. We still have sex-segregated toys today, but it's gotten a lot better in recent years. But anyway, so for those of you who are around my age, let's just look back on some hilarious instances of how they separate toys into male and female varieties. So yes, I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts on this matter. Thank you very much, everyone.